around the table.
Hello, recording.
Hello. What is it, Tuesday?
Find the perimeter and area for this problem. Let's see, this is 6 feet, this is 3 feet, this is 16 feet, 26 feet, 12 feet, and 8 feet. Obviously not drawn to scale. So in a problem like this, actually finding the area is probably easier than finding the perimeter. We're going to need to do both, however. For either one, we need to fill in these dimensions. How would I find this dimension right here?
12 times 8.
Um,
That would also fill in that void.
What is the overall length down here?
32.
26
Oh,
plus
sorry,
6 makes it 32 feet. So up top, that has to be a total of 32 feet. So this dimension has to be how much?
32.
24. 32 minus 8, right?
Yep.
Like I said, obviously not drawn to scale. Do the same thing to find that dimension. This is 19 feet. 19 minus 12, that is 7 feet. So if I'm looking for perimeter, the only side of this figure that I don't have given to me is this side right here. How would I find the length of that side? It is the hypotenuse of a right triangle. Since 24 is horizontal and 7 is vertical, horizontal and vertical dimensions always form a right angle with each other. So I know that's a right triangle. So this, I'll call it h. H squared equals 24 squared plus 7 squared. So what is 24 squared? Say 576. What is 7 squared? 49. If I add those together, 625. So 8 squared equals 625. Then what? Or root. Square root of 625 is 5. So this is 25 feet here. But to find my perimeter, I add up the lengths. I just pick a spot and I go around the figure. So let's say I start here at 26.
Plus 3
Plus 3
6,
plus 6
plus 16
plus 16
plus 24
plus 8 plus 25 is 12. Why don't I add in the 24 and 7?
Because that's not really there.
And they're not really there. They're not really parts of the figure. It's the 25 that cuts across the corner. So if I add those all up, I get a total, what, 29, 35, 51, 59, 84, 96 feet is my perimeter. Any questions there? For area, I'm going to do this. I'm going to fill that in and make one big block. The area of that big block is just these overall dimensions, 32 feet times 19 feet, which gives us 621 square feet. But now there are pieces missing.
Oh, never mind.
Is it 6?
Yeah.
Oh, it is 6. So 608, now there's pieces missing. The first piece missing is this rectangle. Well, that's 3 foot by 6 foot, or 18 square foot. So I subtract that off, we're down to 590. Next piece that's missing is this triangle. What are the dimensions of that triangle?
7 by 24 by 25.
7 by 24. So how do I find its area?
Multiply it together and divide.
7 times 24 divided by 2. Giving us what, 84 square feet? I subtract that, we are at 506 square feet is the area of that figure. What do you think? Not so bad?
Doable.
So last Thursday, actually not last Thursday, last Wednesday, talked a lot about volume. We talked a little bit at the beginning of class yesterday about volume. And we defined volume to be the area of a base times a height, where the height is just the distance between bases. The base is just a shape that is the same on both ends of an object. So we might have a box. Now, a box, every side could be a base because there's a shape on the opposite side that's the same. So we're just going to pick the bottom to be the base. Put some dimensions in here. Let's call this 18 inches, 10 inches, and 15 inches. So we find the area of the base. Since this is the box, the base is a rectangle. How do I find the area of that rectangle?
18 by 10 divided by 2.
It's a rectangle, so it's just 18 times 10. 180, and of course inches times inches is square inches. So then to find the volume, take the area of the base, 180 square inches times what? 15 inches of height. So 180 times 15 inches, 2,700, I believe. Square inches times inches is inches cubed. What do you think?
Better than a sharp stick.
Yeah.
So we've talked about bases. There are two bases. Our bases come in pairs usually. There's a base on the bottom here, and then of course the top rectangle matches that base on the bottom. So that would be the other base. I want to talk about something called lateral area. Lateral area is the area of the surfaces connecting the bases. So for this figure, that would be this rectangle here, this one on the side, the one on the back, and the one over here. Well, if I take that lateral area, it's actually not unique to this figure. Any solid, I can take that lateral area, cut it down one of the corners, and unfold it. And what happens is I get a big rectangle. The height of that rectangle is still just the 15 inches, the height of the regular figure, because that's just that height length there. This width or length of that rectangle is just, this piece would be 10, this piece back here would be 18, this one would be 10, this one would be 18. I would just add up those dimensions. Well, those dimensions, when I add them up, form the perimeter of the base, correct?
Yep.
So if I add those all up, I get 56 inches. So lateral area is defined to be the perimeter of the base times the height. So for this figure, lateral area 56-inch perimeter of the base times the height, the 15 inches, giving us 840 inches squared. Now it's inches squared because it is just an area. Does that make sense? So it's those rectangles that connect the bottom to the top, the two bases that form the lateral area.
So, but that is also the volume, correct? No.
No, the volume is this. The volume is the area of the base times the height. This is the perimeter of the base times the height. So think of the volume, if I have a box, the volume is how much goes inside of it, right?
Yeah.
Lateral area is the amount of material it takes to wrap around the sides. Or if you think of a room, this room, the volume is the air inside of it. The lateral area is the walls.
Surface area.
Well, it's just the lateral surface area, but not the total surface area. It's just the walls of the room. The bases are the bottom and the ceiling. We still have to find, you said the word, total surface area. Which is abbreviated just SA, surface area. And that's going to be the area of the bases, lateral area. So here the area of the base was 180. So our surface area is 180 square inches plus 180 square inches plus 840 square inches is the lateral area. Why did I put down the 180 twice?
Because that's base and the other base.
There's a base on bottom and there's a base on top. There are two of them. So it's the area of the base plus the area of the other base plus the lateral area. Giving us a total of, that's 1,200 square inches, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, some people would find surface area of a box by just finding the 6 rectangles and adding them together. So why did I define this as area of the bases plus lateral area?
Because not all shapes are the same.
Not all shapes are boxes. We can have other shapes. This definition works really well. A cylinder. Let's say that this is 8 inches across and 12 inches high. Just for a review, let's find its volume. The first step in finding the volume is actually the same as the first step in finding the area. It's to find the area of the base. The shape, what's the shape of the base of this?
Circle.
Circle. So the area of the circle is pi times radius squared. So what's the radius of this?
4.
4. Half of the 8. 8's the diameter. The radius be 4 inches. Pi times 4 squared, or 50.24 inches. So the volume would be found by doing what?
Volume would be found by taking that and multiplying that by.
Area of the base times the height. So 50.24 square inches of lateral area, or of area of the base, times the height of 12 inches.
Should make
602.88, I believe, inches cubed. Is that correct?
Yep.
I gotta check. It's that point in the day.
Sounds right.
This is your last class before you go home.
Today it is. So anyway, there's our volume. Now, of course, let's switch over to our new topic, the surface area. And for surface area, remember it's the area of the bases. It's the lateral area. Well, we already have the area of the bases, 50.24 square inches. And of course, There's two of them, so I'm going to write it down twice. What I need, the lateral area. Find the lateral area, I need two pieces. For the lateral area is the perimeter of the base times the height. We know the height, that's the 12. The perimeter of the base, since this is a circle, is just going to be the circumference of a circle. How do I find the circumference of the circle?
Pi times.
Pi times diameter. The diameter here is 8. Pi times 8 would be 25.12 inches. That means my lateral area, 25.12 inches, the perimeter of my base, times 12 inches, otherwise known as 301.44 square inches, I believe. Somebody double check me. Right, cool. So then I add those up. The two bases plus the lateral area gives me what? 401.92 square inches of surface area. I'm seeing all sorts of happy faces out there. Hunter can barely stay in his chair.
Yeah, he's out.
What you
Rough
talking
night,
about,
Hunter?
Willis?
Hmm?
What you talking about, Willis?
Okay, Arnold.
I don't know, you're just kind of sitting over there, you're just like. I had a party too hard last night, I don't know.
I did. No, I did last night. Took a nap.
Okay, so
Must be a heavy sleeper.
So let's say this one here is 9 feet, 12 by 30 feet. First, before I even ask you anything, what is the base on this
The right angle.
triangle? Right?
Yep.
That is the only shape that is the same on the other end of the figure. The bottom rectangle, there isn't one on top. They're all different, right? So that's our base. If I ask you to find volume, again, where do I start?
9 times 12 divided by 2 times 30.
Where do I start?
9 times 12.
Find the area of the base, which is 9 feet times 12 feet. And then what?
Divide them by 2.
Divide by 2. Giving us 54 square feet. That's the area of our base. So then to find volume, I do what?
Times it by 30.
The area of the base, 54 square feet, times the height. The height is not necessarily up and down, it's the distance between the bases, the 30 feet. Giving us 1,620
Square feet.
cubic
Or cubic.
Square feet times feet is cubic feet. Volume will always be a cube. That's the volume. Not so bad.
Area of the base.
I'm going to ask you now to find surface area. The surface area, of course, has 3 parts. 2 of the parts are the same. What are those 2 parts?
The bases.
Area of the base, which is how much?
54.
54 square feet. And of course, there's one on front and there's one on back. So there are 2 of those. I'm writing it vertically this time just so it's easier to add them up.
Do you do 9 times 30?
Well, I need the lateral area. Find lateral area. Remember, I need the perimeter of the base and the height. The height is the 30. the perimeter of the base, that would be this red triangle.
Yep.
If I go to add that up, I've got 9 feet
1,000.
plus 12 feet plus, I need to know that length. How do I find that length? Here you go. 9 squared plus 12 squared equals, I'll call that just C. C squared. Figure out what C is for me.
Make 1 plus 1. 225. Oh,
225, yeah, not 215, 225. Then I square that, I square root that to get that C is 15 feet. So, this is 9 plus 12 plus 15 feet. It's a total of 36 feet is the perimeter of our base. Back up to lateral area. How do I find the lateral area?
Perimeter of the base,
Perfect. What's the perimeter of the base?
36.
6, the height,
9, 30.
30.
30, yeah.
36 feet times 30 feet is 1,080 square feet. That is the perimeter. Not perimeter of my base, that is the lateral area. I add those together, that 1,188 square feet is my totals. What do you think?
Moving to a sharp stick.
Good stuff? You all happy?
I don't know.
Can you scroll down a little bit?
Oh, do it. I got, I'm sorry. Just one of those days, huh? I've been there.
Let me know when you've got her. So then, let's have a little fun here.
Good looking book.
So this is going to be 8 inches. To there, let's make that 15 inches.
Big book.
Let's make this 25 inches here.
What kind of book would be that big?
Now look. So we're going to start out by finding the volume. What is the base of this?
25.
The base is not a length, it's always a shape. That shape right there, because there's a shape over here that's identical to it on the other end. So that has to be the base. The area of the base is actually way simpler than you might think. Remember we talked about cutting things up? And we talked about that one shape the other day where we had this, where we said not only do we cut it up, but we put it back together. We chop this off, we have a rectangle, then we put these two pieces together to make a full circle.
Now it's just a rectangle.
This is just a rectangle, yes. I cut this off here and I put that piece over here, I've just got a rectangle.
It's 15.
That's 8 by 15 or 15 by 8. Area of my base,
No, 15.
15 inches times 8 inches. Or 120. square inches. That's it at the base. How do I find my volume?
Times that by 25.
120 square inches is 25 inches, giving me 1,000 cubic inches. Not so bad. I ask you to find surface area. This one isn't terrible. It's not quite as simple, but it's not terrible. I already have the area of the base. Got the area of the base, 120 square inches. And of course, there's a base on the other end, 120 square inches. For lateral area, I have the height already. I need the perimeter of the base. Find the perimeter of the base, it's just the distance around this shape here. Well, that's going to be 3 pieces. I have this piece here, which is how big? 15. Plus I have this piece down here, which is also 15. Plus then I've got the arc of my circle. I take those two together, and what I do is I flip this one over. A full circle with a diameter of 8. So that gives me a circumference of pi times 8,
Which is 50.
25.12 inches. So 15 plus 15 times 25.12 gives us 55.12 inches as the perimeter of the base. I'll pause. I see a couple of you ready. So how do we use that to find the lateral area?
Add that to.
Perimeter of the base times the height. So the perimeter of the base is 55.12 inches.
Times that.
The height of 25 inches. I'll have the calculator for this one. 1,378 square inches. So lateral area here, 1,378 square inches. I add that all together to get a total surface area of 1,618 square inches. That figure. Hang. Life is good.
It's not the cruelest way to go.
Could have hurt worse. Continue working on homework 40. So I should be able to do the surface area portions of those questions for some of the figures. We haven't talked about cones, pyramids, and spheres yet. That comes tomorrow. Don't look so happy to be anticipating that thing. Well, that's why we